A warm welcome to all of you. And you are joining an organization that has stood for credibility and integrity for 101 years. And now you'll be part of it and adding to it. Our democracy, to work well, needs three robust sectors: the private sector, the government sector, and the civic sector. And the civic sector is that part of democracy where people go beyond their personal interests and their paid job, and where they give for free their time and their energy and their experience and their expertise to benefit a wide group of people. The civic sector identifies what needs to work better and then develops an organizing idea. And the idea gets shaped into an issue, and people advocate for that issue until it is passed into law, as a result of which beneficial changes come into our communities, cities, state, and our nation, because the League of Women Voters is active in all 50 states. Alas, as many of you know, the civic sector has been getting weaker for several decades now. Fewer people work together on what benefits the wide community, but the League perseveres in being the public space where people with different political views can work together. And that's because the League neither supports nor opposes political candidates. League work is not partisan. New members who join the League, such as you, are such a win for the civic sector. Our Chicago League added to the civic sector more than 60 new members in 2021. Yes. I once asked the person who attended League debates and talks and helped with registering new voters why she didn't join the League, because she was doing all the work. And she said, I always wanted to, but nobody ever asked me to join. I think that you can't just join, you have to be invited. You know, of course, that's not true. You can join, but that reminds us all to invite our civic-minded friends and acquaintances, family members, to join the League, because every additional League member makes the voice of the League stronger in Chicago, and every new League member grows the civic sector in Chicago, and a robust civic sector adds strength to our democracy. And now let's get to specifics about our Chicago League. You will now meet our president, our executive president, our voters service chair, and the co-chair of a brand new League committee. Enjoy.
Thank you, Elona, for a wonderful introduction. My name is Jamieson. I am the board president for the League of Women Voters of Chicago. Just to give you a little bit sense about how I came into this, I live in Belmont-Cragen, but I've lived kind of all over the north side. And I joined the League in 2017 to get more involved in local politics, and I was drawn to the nonpartisan nature of the work of the League. I'm also a librarian by trade, so the fact that the League really loves to do research was something that drew me to this organization in particular. When I did my new member orientation, someone who was there said the League is nonpartisan, but we're definitely political. And I have adopted that as my motto for the rest of my life. And I've been the president since November of 2019, which is very weird for me to think about. So I was asked to kind of give you guys an idea of the overall structure of the League as a whole, and then we are going to drill down into specifics about how you can get involved in Chicago with Catherine. So by joining the league at the local level, you have de facto joined a bunch of other leagues. The League of Women Voters is very much like a Russian nesting doll, and each different level of the league focuses on different parts and advocacy for different parts of our government. So the League Chicago focuses on city politics. Our committees focus on how they can affect change through city guidelines and by advocating for at the aldermanic level. We've also done aldermanic forums, so you guys can get excited for that in 2023. There will be a lot of fun stuff to do for the local election cycle, and we do voter registration events, which you'll hear more about from Helene all across the city. The next level up is the Cook County League. The Cook County League, as you can imagine, focuses on politics at the county level and advocacy for county officials. They also were super instrumental in putting together voter registration services and ensuring the right to vote for those who are awaiting trial in Cook County jails. Above that is the Illinois League, which focuses on statewide politics and does advocacy down in Springfield. They also run the Illinois Voter Guide, which has input from all the local leagues, like at our level, but then has statewide information on who is going to be on your ballot. So that's super useful for those federal elections like we're going to have next year in 2022. Above the Illinois League, we have two interleague organizations that you have also become a part of. The Lake Michigan region comprises states that are surrounding and touching Lake Michigan. So Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. And they focus on the environmental health of the lake and how we can make it better. So they focus on that. The other one is also environmentally focused. It's the Upper Mississippi River region, which comprises the states that touch the Mississippi River. So we are a part of that as well. It's us, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and I think there's one more, but I can never remember for sure. And then beyond that is the National League, which focuses on national politics. And you may have seen, like I know Julia mentioned earlier that she had seen some news about our National League. They're doing advocacy for things like the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the For the People Act. And I believe, I am proud to say that our executive director at the national level has been arrested a couple of times at voting rights protests. And since we were founded by suffragettes who chained themselves to buildings to get the right to vote, I think it's a pretty grand tradition. So the National League does advocacy to Congress as a whole. So since you've joined, you're going to start getting alerts and news from all of these different levels of the league. So if you see an action alert come through to your email that says, hey, contact Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth and tell them to vote for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, that's coming to you from the National League. Whereas if you're getting an action alert that says, tell your alderman to vote yes on the proposed budget for X, then that's coming from us, from the Chicago League. So that's kind of how you can tell the difference. And the nice thing is that means you can get involved at multiple levels of government. So that's kind of a very quick overview of all of the different levels of the league. So I'm going to turn it over to Catherine to talk a bit more about how we as a Chicago League are involved in the local politics.
Thanks, Anne. I'm Catherine Mardikes. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Chicago League, and I joined, I guess it was 2017, and I was very interested in voting at that point. I'd been very involved in politics, and I thought, something a little nonpartisan that focuses on voting would be just about my cup of tea. And so I got very involved at that point. My day job is I am a research librarian at the University of Chicago. So what I'm going to talk to you about is how to make the league a little more personal for you, the Chicago League. We're a large urban league. Some of the local leagues across the state are much smaller. I mean, they're neighbors and they've known each other for years. And we're just this great big city. And so there are different ways that you can get involved that will help you to meet people, find people who are doing the same thing that you want to do, and just make the league a little more friendly. I'm going to share my screen at this point and start. I'm very excited. We have a new website coming, and don't copy down this URL if you can see it, because it is not the one that we're going to be. It's not the one, where did it go? Oh, here it is. It's not the one that is going to be, that URL is wrong. This is, you are getting a sneak peek at our new website. And it'll be available the middle of December. So we're very, very close now. And so I thought I'd use some of the pages that Jane Ruby had developed. She's leading the communications committee, is running it, and Jane Ruby, like so many of our league members, has skills from one of her professions, and web design is one of them. So we're getting a professional web designer to work for us on this. So there are different ways that you would connect. One is obviously events and different kinds of things we do, but the other is through a unit. And a unit is trying to make this big, huge urban league a little smaller. And it's neighborhood, and I use neighborhood very loosely, actually. So Melanie Nordstrom and I, we are the co-leaders of the South Side unit. And the South Side unit, we meet in Hyde Park when we are meeting in person, but our range is all the way south. We have people over in Chatham. We're taking all of the South Side up until you get to the far west side. And so, so that's one area. Another area is the North Side unit, and they meet. They have three co-leaders. Walt Bauman, Ann McKenzie, and Kate Yoshida. And they meet at the Sulzer Regional Library when they are meeting. The far southwest side unit is basically taking in Beverly and that area down on the south, which is south and a little west of where we go. And Diane Atkinson and Betsy Perrine are unit leaders for that group. And then the Loop unit is an interesting, they meet when they're meeting in the league offices down on Michigan Avenue. And in the past, before the pandemic, there were two Loop units. One was daytime for people who weren't working or could pop over from work, and the other was evening. And they both met separately, and they had different leaders. But since the last couple of years, because of COVID, they decided, hey, people working from home, let's combine into one Loop unit. I don't know if that's going to continue or not, but Margie Gilbert has just taken that over from Abigail. Oops, I lost a last name.
Nichols.
Thank you, Abigail Nichols. She's been so active. I can't believe she's just Abigail. So what goes on at the unit level? Well, one of the things is that we keep everyone informed. When it's going really well, when the Southside unit was meeting, we actually went out of our way to place somebody on each committee so we could know what was going on in the committees. And we're going to try and get that started again. But we have our own kind of projects. So the Southside unit, we were the ones that took on renaming Congress Parkway Ida B. Wells Drive. That was one of ours. We were also the ones that started the voter registration in Cook County Jail. Fortunately, Chicago Votes came in and took over the administration of that, because that turned into the huge thing. The Northside unit, they had a wonderful program on the Electoral College. And the loop, a lot has come out. We'll be hearing from Debbie, but I do believe a lot, I think a couple of committees have come out of the activities that go on at the loop meeting. Now, there are things that we try and all do, and we want to do more of that. The best example where we all jump in is a voter registration on the first 2 days of class each semester for the city colleges. It's all hands on deck. And the South Side unit, we take about 4 of them because 4 of them are on the South Side. The Loop unit takes Harold Washington. The North Side unit takes Wright. And there's another group that takes Truman, a little group that live over in Edgewater. So they claim that forever. So, and then we also do beach cleanup, and we're talking about maybe all of the units covering the beaches in Chicago once. So this is the kind of thing you get to know people. We made posters together for the Women's March, those kinds of things. So it's kind of a mini league within this big urban league. I think it might be the best way to think about it. And then in addition, and this is again another place where people get to know each other and work, and it's based on interest more than on location. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to live in any neighborhood to be a part of any unit. You just have to want to go to that unit meeting, and so you can shop around. We've poached a few from the Loop, actually, who live in the Loop, but it's fine. And so when we organize by interest, that's more of our committee work. And I'm going to pull up and use this for committee work. So these are the committees that we have formed. Now, I need to kind of give you a COVID statement on committees before I go into any detail. Committees traditionally have had a date every month and a time where they meet. And if they don't need to meet, they cancel, everybody knows. Or if they need to meet more, they call it kind of a working group because they've got a big project they want to get through, they meet more often. But basically what we try to do is have a regular time for each committee to meet, and it goes on the league calendar. Because of COVID, some of the meetings, some of the work of the committees has continued, but not meeting regularly. Like Elona's taken over, has become the chair of the membership committee, and she's been doing an enormous amount of work, but we haven't really reconstituted the committee. We're going to get all that done. So let me just now go through the committees. The city government committee, extremely active. They are the ones who've been doing the Zooming with the alderman. You might be seeing that in some of the newsletter and emails, special feature emails that have been coming to you. They also do a lot of observing. They observe the city council. They observe some of the committees that are so important to the city, to the movement of the city council. And they're working on ways of increasing transparency in government. The education committee, now there are 2 education committees. They're thinking about combining to one. Again, it's daytime, evening are the 2. They have a lot that they've been doing. Transparency in the past has been a big part of what they do. They observe and push for budgets to be made public and things like that. But they also do studies, and right now they're looking at, traditional school, charter school, and virtual school. What's going on? They're going to be studying some of that. So they do studies, but also they're going to be very involved. We're going to have an elected school board. So they'll probably come up with a survey questions that they can ask potential candidates. We'll probably try and get all of that into the Illinois voter guide that Anne was telling you about. So that's kind of exciting. I'm not going to tell you about the environmental action committee because Debbie is here and she can tell you, she's going to talk to you about that. And I'm not going to tell you about the voter service committee because Helene is here and she's going to talk to you. So let me jump on down. Oh, well, unfortunately, I'm going to be talking about the Committee on Diversity and Inclusion, even though Waitress, the brand new chair as of last month, is here. And we have to sit down and really go over a few things. I'm not going to do that to you, Waitress, not this time. Next time.
I appreciate it.
This is an important committee. It works closely with membership. In fact, it was a subcommittee of membership, and then we moved it into a full-blown separate committee at one point. And they've done surveys. It's been a few years. It's time for us to do another survey and just see what is the diversity of our membership. And we're not just talking race and religion and all these things, but we're talking age, income diversity, all kinds of things that we look at, and to make sure that we're looking at working with everyone across the city. Also, special events often that are very educational, that open one's eyes to issues that are necessary. And those are some of them, and some of the sorts of things. Membership, you're getting a beautiful example of what the membership committee does. Usually it's more of a party, and we all talk about, you know, how we're going to set it up and stuff. But Elona's going to be working on all kinds of different things, membership engagement, and just increasing visibility in general, a little bit about what she was saying right at the beginning, and different kinds of, providing different kinds of skills that members can develop, and those work closely with the committee. So there's observer training, which is great for the education and the city government committee, and there's moderator training, which is absolutely essential for the voter service training for candidates forums. So a lot of that will come through. This is a newly formed committee, the fundraising committee. Maybe it's just newly formed for this century. I'm sure it was big before, but we realized that we only get, out of that $75 that you paid, the local league only gets about $7 of that, because the big money goes to national, which makes sense. They're hiring people who argue cases before the Supreme Court, and state. They have a lot that they're doing, but we actually, to pay our rent, need to do more. So we have a committee, and that committee does campaigns. You all got some Giving Tuesday campaign information, or Cyber Week. We also, our signature event is State of the City. Last year we had it in December. It was our centennial. It was exciting. And then the Communications Committee, well, you're looking at work from the Communications Committee, and your mailbox fills up with lots from the Communications Committee. They especially are looking for anyone loves to just sort of be a reporter, write up what went on in an event. We had a wonderful suffrage mural event. We need someone to write that up so that everybody knows what we're up to. And I do want to encourage you. We're also separate right now because of COVID and everything's virtual. Every Tuesday, there's a newsletter that comes to you. Take some time to look at that, because it tells you what we've been doing. It tells you what we're going to do. And there are a few articles that are discussing some of the issues that are coming up. And then the last is events. We have several events. I've mentioned them a few times now. Briefings are once a month on Saturdays, and they tend to be very, member focused, where we're trying to learn something. And then Chicago Focus is our big splash events. And then there are two other, if you want to get involved in criminal justice, we're doing a lot of that here, or health, or the budget structure of Cook County, the county that we live in. You might be interested in joining an interest group through the County League. Remember, Ann told you there are different levels. The county has these committees, which they call interest groups. And I think I've used up more than my time I said I would use, so I better stop now and can answer some questions about more later. So let me turn let me turn over the stage
Helene.
to Helene. If I stop sharing, I'll find where all my little things are. All right, Helene, I am spotlighting you now.
Hi, I'm Helene Gabelnick. I've been a league member for 47 years, but I had a break when I went back to work full time and I taught at Harold Washington College. Since I came back, which was in 2006 when I retired, I've been involved as voter service chair. And so I want to tell you a little bit about some of the things we do. We don't really have a committee per se, but it has, especially with COVID, it hasn't really been something that we've done. But I want to just point out some of the voter service activities that we've done. And so I'd like to share my screen to show you that. If I can, where am I here?
The green button.
Yeah. So I have this very short PowerPoint that highlights what we do. And some of these things Catherine has already mentioned to you. Why is this not working? So the committee has essentially 3 areas of responsibility. The first is voter registration, which you've heard about. The second is election information for voters, and I'll amplify each of these as we go on. And the third has to do with candidates forums. With voter registration, first of all, it's possible to become a deputy voter registrar. That's a special title given to you if you take the training from the Chicago Board of Elections. It's not necessary that you do this in order to participate in voter registration, but it is helpful to learn some of the nuances of registering voters. We have scheduled events. Again, this depends on what's going on. For instance, we did something at the Chicago Housing Authority warm coat event that was at the end of October. We go into the high schools, we go into the city colleges, as was mentioned, but we've also done things with National Lewis and with other colleges, with Roosevelt and some other colleges. We've gone into senior facilities if people have a connection there. As was mentioned, we do the pretrial detainees at Cook County Jail. And then we have venues that can be set up by anybody. So if you want to do it at your local coffee shop, it's possible to do that. It just depends on where you have an interest and where you want to do it. I, for instance, register voters in my condo's lobby a few weeks before the start of the, before the election, I should say. We also then provide a lot of information for voters. We prepare and distribute the League of Women Voters of Chicago bookmark, which has a lot of information on it. And that's available, except right now it doesn't have a lot of information because many of these things haven't been finalized. We do presentations for different groups, some in high schools, as was mentioned, but also occasionally we'll be asked to do a presentation for another type of group. We did several professional groups last time around. We assist with the preparation of the League of Women Voters of Illinois voter guide. And by assist, that means we can ask questions or submit questions to that guide that makes it very specific to Illinois, and of course, our part being Chicago. We had, last time this was done, we had questionnaires for the aldermanic candidates, and it was when they were being elected, and we had those answers were in the Illinois voter guide. We use the Chicago Board of Elections website, which has a tremendous amount of information if you wish to delve into it. Then, of course, as was mentioned also, we do candidates forums. And we train moderators and coordinators. If you've noticed with the weekly that comes out, there have been advertisements or statements to become a trained moderator, a trained coordinator from the League of Women Voters of Illinois. When you're going to do a forum, most likely you're going to have partners, whether it's a homeowners group or some other group in the neighborhood in that particular jurisdiction. So you have to establish who they are. Then we schedule and supervise the forums and may lead them depending on who's going to be the person running the forum, and provide handouts at the same time. We schedule volunteers, and as various activities are scheduled, league members will be informed and asked to participate in them. We use a program called Sign Up Genius. So for instance, if we say we need 6 people to go to a particular event, this particular program has the times and the information about the event, and you can sign up. That way we know who is going, and we make sure that we have the right number of people. So we need volunteers for everything that I've just mentioned here. You can be an occasional volunteer, that is, you do it once in your condo, or you can be a multiple time volunteer. You can go into 2 or 3 schools or other places that are of interest to you, or you can agree to be a coordinator. So for instance, the last election cycle, we had an individual who was the coordinator for all of the candidates forums. And that's a position that we still need to fill. We don't have anybody right now who has agreed to do that. So we need volunteers for all of those. So again, I'd like to take questions if you have questions, but for more information, and here's my email, or you can use the general email, or you can phone me if you want to talk about any of these. Obviously, we don't have time here to specifically go into each of these, but I'm more than happy to talk with you on the phone if there's something that you're interested in. So, oh, I'm sorry. My next task is to introduce Debbie Halpern, who's going to tell you about another committee. If you have questions about this one, please pick it up after Debbie finishes, I think.
And Debbie, if I could just take a moment and tell people what I just put into the chat. I put into the chat the names of the chairs of all the committees, and I have given you their email addresses as well. So you guys can just block copy that if you'd like.
Okay, are you ready, Catherine?
Yes, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so in addition to telling you a little bit about the Environmental Action Committee, I just want to also say that anybody that joins the league or has been in the league forever and feels a need to add to that committee list, this board is very willing and open, because we didn't have an Environmental Action Committee going. We did at one point with the league, but times changed and it kind of petered out. And suddenly I got very involved with my co-chair, Claudia Jackson, and we came to the board and said, hey, we really need an Environmental Action Committee here. And they said, great. So I'm just saying, follow your interests. If there's something that you want to get into and you didn't see it on that long list, then speak up. I should also introduce myself. I'm Debbie Halpern, and I joined the league the day after the 2016 election with the sole purpose of I felt I needed to register everybody under the sun to vote again. So the league was the right place to do that. And I joined, and I did quite a few voter registrations for Helene, who I must put a plug in for her committee because she is so over-organized, and it was really easy to do and fun. And I'm in the Loop unit, and our Loop unit is very exciting. And somebody said they were sitting in the city. So I hope you'll join our Loop unit. It's a great group, and we just got very involved with and talking during our meetings of things we were into. And I was real into the CEJA, the Clean Energy Jobs Act. And after that was finally beautifully signed, I needed something else in the environment. So we started talking about plastics. And in fact, we represent the Chicago League of Women Voters on a Illinois-wide coalition called the Coalition for Plastic Reduction. And so we are obsessed with getting rid of single-use plastic. So everybody stop it. But generally, we need more members because we want to do a lot of things. We are not planning to reinvent the wheel. There's so much going on in the environmental world that all we need to do is tag along, augment, and put the power of the Chicago League of Women Voters behind all these other great initiatives that are going on. So I am sincerely inviting all of you. Julia and Helene are already on our committee, so thank you. And I am inviting all of you to please think about it. And we, Catherine, we do have set dates. We meet the first and third Monday of every month at 4 o'clock. And we had a great meeting today, and we are taking the rest of the month off. So our next meeting, I think, is January 3. And so, yeah, it's an action committee. It's not just a talking committee. So I just wanted to put in a plug, and I thank the board for the time to do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our time is up, and we thank you very much for participating today. And we're looking forward to next year when we can meet in person. Thank you.
That would be lovely. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us.
Right.
We are here to guide you through this, and we are super excited you joined.
This was terrific and very helpful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you
for
very
this.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Have a good night,
Bye.
everyone.